So I grew up in the Army. My dad was in the Army, and I grew up on military bases. And one of the things that's ingrained in you as a military family, at least a good military family, there's families that didn't do it well, but one of the things that it is ingrained in you is to be respectful to higher rankings. So dad was a specific rank. Everybody above them, not that you disrespect anybody else, but everybody who was above him in officers or whatever it was, you be respectful. You call them by their rank. You call them Mr. or Mrs. if you don't remember the rank. I mean, that's kind of how we grew up. And especially true when we go to church. The people that were our elders, the people that were older than us, the people that were older than my parents, we always called them Mr. or Mrs. whoever. So it's kind of a thing that I deal with in my head when I go to criticize leaders. Now, we criticize leaders all the time. We talk about their shortcomings. We talk about their failings. But there's this thing inside of me that is like really hard to be disrespectful to even the president who I can't stand at the moment. And so it's just always an interesting thing to do political commentary, but it's getting more and more easy. I'm telling you, unfortunately, maybe this is a bad thing for me to be disrespectful to this guy that can't even be honest, or for a regime to hold somebody that has this cognitive disability. Let me show you a video of what I'm talking about.
Are you worried that other leaders in the world are going to start to doubt that America is back if some of these big things that you say on the world stage keep getting walked back?
What's getting walked back?
It made it sound like, just in the last couple days, it sounded like you told U.S. troops they were going to Ukraine. It sounded like you said it was possible the U.S. would use a chemical weapon, and it sounded like you were calling for regime change in Russia, and we know...
None of the three occurred.
None of the three occurred?
None of the three.
Mr. President?
You interpret the language that way. I was talking to the troops. We're talking about helping train the troops that are the Ukrainian troops that are in Poland. That's what the context. I sat there with those guys for a couple hours. That's what we talked about.
So when you said you're going to see when you're there, you were not intending to
I was referring to meeting with and talking with the Ukrainian troops that were in Poland.
And when you said a chemical weapon use by Russia would trigger a response in kind.
It will trigger a significant response.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to tell you. Why would I tell you? You got to be silly.
The world wants to know?
The world wants to know a lot of things. I'm not telling them what the response would be. Then Russia knows the response.
Okay, so that video is clear that he is either lying, which we should have no respect for, because 3 days in a row, or 3 incidents at least in two different days, he had to be backtracked by the White House. Now, first of all, any backtracking to that level really should be, I know the press secretary handles some of these backtracking things traditionally, but when it's this big, it really should be coming from Biden. He all but implied that he will use chemical weapons. If he didn't mean that, then he should have clarified what he meant. Shouldn't have relied on the White House to do it for him. And then he talked about Ukraine troops. We're going to possibly be seeing troops in Ukraine. That was the implication of what he said. And then he also said, and I've got videos on all of these things on Facebook and YouTube and stuff. And then he also has talked about the other stuff that we saw in that video. 3 different incidences, 3 different times the White House had to walk him back within just 2 days on the world stage. The regime change. Yeah, there it came back to me. This is a problem because it's hard for me to be disrespectful to leaders, like I said, but this is, nope. I don't think it's disrespectful anymore. This is really bad. He's flat out lying or he can't remember. Either scenario is unacceptable for a regime to hold him up into this position still and not remove him and say, you know what? We made a massive mistake. We wanted to get our guy in. He was our best option, but man, he is just not the right person. That would require people to have integrity anyways, and to have a moral understanding of the world, or to have any kind of morals in their life at all, which we know they don't. As I say, we need to be moral people that stand for something, otherwise we'll stand for nothing. And this regime is standing for absolute chaos, and really, frankly, their morals are chaos. That's what their morals are. It's seated in Marxism. It's seated in bringing down America. It's seated in nobody gets to own private property. It's all the Marxist tenets that they're trying to push for. We could see that over and over and over. But it really is this disrespect that I have, like, just building up in me, is not a good thing either. I really do want to have respect for a minimum of the positions that have authority, that we've given authority to. That said, there is no respect that should be given for this action and for these comments from a president saying, oh, I don't remember doing this just 3 days ago. That is unacceptable, especially on this massive level. That just gives even more signals to Putin and to the rest of the world that he either can't remember or is not willing to take responsibility for his own words that he just said. That's a bad precedent to set. My name is Paul Prosise. Go to paulprosise.com. Find me anywhere. Please follow me on all the other social media, so I'm not just reliant on one platform. You guys know who you are. You know I love you, but we need to get on the other platforms as well. Make sure that we are, speaking to everybody on all platforms. All right. We'll see you soon. Have a good day.